Good evening, everyone. Oh, why am I so close to the camera? Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to Cultivating Conversations. I am your host, Stacy T. For those of you who are joining for the first time, welcome. And for those of you who are returning, what's going on? What's cracking? It is the week before Thanksgiving, and we are excited. And I'm especially excited because tonight's episode 8 of season 3, we are doing a bonus successfully single series. Say that like 20 times. Successfully single series. Okay, so if you've been rocking and rolling with me, you know that for the last 6-7 weeks, I've been talking about successfully single, right? Because a lot of times we are having so many conversations about getting in a relationship, and how to be in love and find somebody and so on and so forth. But my pain point is that we do not do the due diligence to heal. So a couple of weeks ago, I had I had one of my good friends, Allison Murray. She came on, and if you all remember, her and her husband Dwayne Murray, they absolutely blessed my podcast last year in season 2. They were very vulnerable, they were very transparent, and they were just such a blessing when we was talking about the pandemic and relationships in the pandemic. So a couple of weeks ago, I had Allison come on, and we was having a candid conversation, sister to sister, woman to woman, talking about singleness. She's married, obviously, because I was talking about her and Dwayne. But she was talking about singleness from a single standpoint and what singleness meant to her from a married standpoint. And it was so nice to get such wisdom from her. So tonight, I've been waiting for this. I didn't know it was gonna happen, but like I said, delayed but not denied. So tonight, finally, this bonus episode, we have her husband, I'm not gonna say fabulous because he's a man. The wonderful Dwayne Murray. He is here. We're gonna talk tonight about the heart of a man, because I just felt that it was important to talk to a man about men's stuff, because obviously I'm not a man. And as much as I know that I know about men, there's a whole heap that I don't know and that I don't get. And I'm sure you all don't get. So we're going to talk to him. I'm going to bring him on. He is in Syracuse alum. He is in the military. He is a decorated soldier in the military. He is a father. He is a husband, outstanding in both. And he's a brother. He is a black man, and I trust his voice. And it's the God in him, of course, but I trust him. I don't trust many men to speak to the masses, about men topics, but I do trust this brother because I know that he is a man of integrity. So without further ado, I'm going to bring my good bro on, Mr. Dwayne Murray. What's going on, brother?
How we doing? How we
We
doing?
are
How are you?
great. How are you?
Fantastic. Thank
Well,
you for
first,
having me tonight.
oh, of course. Thank you, because I know that you're busy, and we tried this a couple of times, but I'm so excited and I'm so glad to finally do that. But first, I must say thank you for your service, because Veterans Day was last week.
Yeah, last Thursday.
Last week. So thank you for your service, and thank you, Allison. Shout out to Allison Murray, your queen, your rib, your wife, your wifey, your boo bae, all of that good stuff. Shout out to Allison. So Dwayne, um thank you for being here. I don't think you need an introduction, because last December well, it's November.
Was it that
Last
long
year,
ago?
yeah, it was in December.
Wow.
It was in December last year. I remember, because I think it was the week before I caught COVID.
Oh my.
Yeah, yeah. And I caught COVID the week before Christmas. It's crazy. Last year, I remember, because did you just hear that?
Yeah.
What was that? See, Devil, we not doing this tonight. No, we not. We're not doing this tonight, devil. See, this is how I know this is about to be lit, because that has never happened. The activity. All right, I'm not even going there. Let me pray silently while
We
we
pray
start,
together. Go ahead and lead us.
because we not doing this in Jesus' name. I bind and rebuke all interference. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so because if my friend Lauren watches this, she's gonna be like, "See, I can't take you nowhere." No. Anyway, so as I was, yeah, it was last year, caught COVID,
Wow.
but that's neither here nor there. I'm still here, and I thank God that it wasn't. I thought I had the flu, so, but in any case, it was last year. So yeah, you and Allison came on, and I mean, you all were so very transparent, and we said that we was gonna have a moment where, or a time where you were here. So tonight, I want us to have a conversation about the heart of a man, and I want to touch on a few things. And like I told you, backstage, we might have to do a part two, because there's just a lot that I want to uncover. But I want to start. Did you want to say something first before? Because I'm just
You got this, man. You got this.
okay.
So
That whole thing just really irritated me, because I'm not playing these games. So I want to dive right in, and I want to talk about, what does singleness mean to you, and understanding, you know you're married now, but you were once single,
yeah.
and you are a man. So what does singleness mean to you, and in your opinion, what do you think singleness means to the majority of men today? Like, I know you can't speak, that's a broad stroke question, but just based on what you see.
So I'll start by what singleness means to me. And my definition of singleness has evolved over time. Um, so singleness to me back in the day was probably just me doing me, because little boys don't dream about their wedding day. They might think about the wedding night, but they don't dream about the wedding day.
Let me mute myself.
um, but we don't. We I don't recall. And again, I'm not going to claim to speak for every man. I can speak for me. I didn't dream about my wedding day. I constantly thought and meditated about getting out of my situation growing up. Some people don't have to think about that, So there was a single effort, a single-minded effort to get out of my circumstance. And in the midst of that, I probably actually did everything that I could possibly do to sabotage that at the same time. And so that's a whole nother story and a whole nother podcast. But today, singleness, as someone who's been married, been single, been married, been divorced, been single, and been married again. Singleness to me means unity of effort. That's kind of a military term, but unity of effort. We're all in the same boat, rowing in the same direction. But we also have that ability to have that space and use that time to grow and develop individually. What I would tell my younger self today about what singleness is it should be me working on me so that I can be ready for the next thing. And if I'm honest with myself and I want to be in a relationship, let me back up. I should be working on myself to be a whole individual anyway, whether I'm in a relationship or not, because a whole healed person is of value in any arena and is a force to be reckoned with in any arena. So at home, as a sister, as a brother, as a friend, as a coworker, a whole healed person is of value. So again, if I could talk to the younger version of myself, how quickly can I heal from the trauma that may have occurred in my life to be of value at that point in my life? I can't say I was of value at every moment in my life, especially as a young person. And I didn't, and I'll qualify my statement, or I'll change my statement to say that I didn't feel like I was of value at every moment in my life and every turn in my life. There are people who did a whole bunch of sowing, did a whole bunch of planting and watering. And now, my wife gets to enjoy the harvest. My kids get to enjoy the harvest. I get to enjoy the harvest. God gets the increase, but there were times when, you know, so again, singleness is about growth and development in that time and in that space. And how can you work on you? And then if somebody comes along and they're along for the ride, whether it's a reason, a season, or a lifetime, if they're, I've got friends that were friends with me or friends to me in a small period of time, and they poured into me immeasurably. And now they're part of my circle, but we don't necessarily talk every day. And that's okay. Because we had intimacy at that particular point in time, if I pick up the phone today, it's like we spoke yesterday and we haven't spoken for years.
Okay. I need to jump in here because I got some questions. No, this is so good. So you said so much already. Gosh, I'm like trying to write. So I want to kind of touch on something that you said that was so key. You talked about the people who sold into you. So if I'm hearing you correctly, you had people that invested in you to sow into your manhood and the type of man that you were supposed to be, and when those moments where you were kind of like off road, they helped to get you, back in line. I want you to talk about because I've never heard I haven't heard many men speak from work on yourself and get yourself right and heal from it's being talked about more, but I haven't heard a man say work on yourself so that you can be healed and whole for yourself, but also for like that next phase in your life when you should want to be married and things like that. Women typically speak to that, and as a woman, we have the 10 steps, the 12 steps, 7 days of the week, what to do 24 hours a day, all of the books. We have that. What does that look like for a man? Because as a woman, what I've seen, okay, and I'm only going by what I've seen. I'm not saying this right. I'm not saying this wrong. It's just what I've seen. What I've seen is the two types of men. They've either had the support that you've had, or they have literally been pulling themselves up by their own bootstraps, if you will. Is that a military term? Pull yourself up by the boot.
No,
Okay.
no.
It is a saying though, but they pulled themselves up so they work on themselves in silos.
Yeah.
So what does working on yourself look like for a man? Not saying that you have the whole prototype, but what does that look like? Because we don't see that. We're starting to see a little bit now.
Yeah.
But what does that look like?
So it's interesting that you say that there are two camps. The camp that pulls himself up by the bootstraps and the camp that has the support system. And the reason why I comment and say that that's interesting is because we don't get the benefit of seeing the finished product when it's going through the assembly line, right? If you knew what the end product was, then that would be like getting the answers to the test, right? And so I'm humbled that you think I had the support system, because I'm the pull yourself up by the bootstraps dude.
Oh. Oh, no, but when you said like, I had people to pour into me.
But here, so I had people to pour into me, but it's not in the traditional thought.
Okay.
So to know that is to know who I am and where I started, right? We talked about this backstage.
Yes.
So
Yep.
born in Brooklyn,
Mm-hmm.
my mom left me in the hospital at 16.
Okay, we didn't talk about that. Okay.
Right. So my mom left me in the hospital. I was raised by my grandfather for
Mm-hmm.
and for about 12 years. 12 years I lived with my grandfather. I didn't even know. I thought he was my mom. I thought he was my dad. And I thought his wife was my grandmother. I mean, my mother. And they raised me as their son. So I did not know that they weren't my parents until I was like, I don't know, 8. And so by the time I turned 12, bouncing around from uptown to the Bronx and Grand Concourse and Co-op City and all these different places that my grandparents were living in. My grandfather worked at Lincoln Hospital. So doing all that bouncing around. So by the time I turned 12, I had been expelled from 3 schools.
Okay.
The last school I got expelled from, the teacher said to me, as he walked me across the street, he said, if I made it to the age of 19, I'd be lucky to be alive. And so there are people along the way that poured into me. As my grandfather as my grandfather couldn't deal with me anymore, I moved to White Plains. And that's where my aunt and uncle, my mother's sister, took care of me. My mother's sister and her husband, they worked in group homes. They were now watch this. You talk about a special set of skills of cats to pour into you. This is what's being poured into me. A grandfather who was a firefighter, who grew up in South Carolina, an uncle who was a White Plains cop and worked in group homes, and an aunt who worked in a correctional facility. Right. That's the pouring in I had poured into me.
Okay. All right.
So you told me about your shop. She worked at Valhalla.
Okay.
She worked at Valhalla.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. A couple other places. She worked at Pleasantville Cottage Homes, and she worked in those group home facilities. She worked with she worked with children that were me. She worked with me before I showed up. And so as I journey along a little further, I just found myself in places where, like, who's this kid hanging around? And people would be in that space. They looked out for me because I wasn't looking out for myself. Like I said, I can't go into it on here, but I tried hard. For those who know me, I tried hard to ruin opportunities.
Mm.
And I was resistant to what was happening in my life. And so, but there are people that prayed for me. And so it looks different for everybody. You know, you said Syracuse alum, when I got to Syracuse, first of all, first generation college graduate, like many of us that were there, not academically prepared, straight up, was not academically prepared, you know. But I went up there and I got lucky. I hit lightning in a bottle. And something said, you need to study, you know. But when I got there, I adopted a family. Something in me said, hey, I want to hang out with these people. It just so happens it was the dean of a school, the dean of the College of Social Work at the time.
Wow.
Right. And so I inherited I can even go further back. There was a family in Scarsdale that adopted me as well, that were pouring into me in small doses. There were community leaders that poured into me in small doses, and they took me places and did things for me. And I was there, and it wasn't just me. I was there in a forum with other kids, with other men. And why it stuck to me, or why I was able to synthesize it and digest it and other people didn't, I don't know. That's a God thing. I don't know.
Right.
Serious. I have no way of knowing.
Mm-hmm.
But what I would tell you is, at that point, you know, when people are talking to you and listen, and if you just listen sometimes, man, the things, the nuggets that you get, the influence and the impact that you get, you know, sometimes it's best to be sometimes it's best to be quiet and thought of as incompetent and open your mouth and remove all doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying I faked it till I made it. I'm saying I listened a lot. I still have books with notes from things that people said that I haven't even opened yet. And so what self-care or self-development looks like to me is being able to synthesize that and apply it at the right time. You know, being able to advocate for yourself, knowing how to advocate for yourself. You know, even in my relationship, even with Allison, you know, it's important to advocate for myself. You know, as men, to be honest, as a man, who I got to go to? Like you just said, there's a 10-step book for women. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because if we think about this, sociologically, you know, Black families have been breaking down forever. And who's normally not in the house? The man, the father. And so, you know, women have had the charge and charter to insulate themselves and help people grow and develop. And hats off to single moms all over the place. And they doing what they can do to raise little boys. But it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
It is hard stuff. I used to say a son needs his dad. Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
But a son needs his mom too. Kids need both parents, and they need both parents involved and active and you know, ever present and ever vigilant.
Yep. Ever vigilant. That's that right there.
They need both parents. And so, you know, women that grow up in that situation, in my opinion, they get the benefit that the moms are giving them of, hey, this is the, this is how, whatever, this is the holy grail of how you care for yourself, and they get to be in tune with that.
Mm-hmm.
you know and when do little boys get that, and how do little boys get that, and how does that look for a boy, to get that from his dad? I just finished talking to my son before we got started. I had to put him to bed. He's all short circuiting out right now because he's just tired, and he's just, he doesn't understand. He's 7. He doesn't understand that he's just tired. The encumbrance of the day is wearing him out. And so what does that look like? All he wanted to do was lay down here next to me. Like, Dad, can I lay down next to you? I said, you can't, son. But I'm coming upstairs. I'm going to tuck you in. I'm going to say prayers with you. I'm going to rub your back. And I'll be up there as soon as I'm done. Because I need self-care, and so do you. Now,
so good.
If, depending on how long we stay on, he might be knocking on my door and talking about coming in here with me.
Mm-hmm.
Dad, I want to lay down with you. I want to relax with you. Because they know that that's relaxed time. They know that that's chill time with Dad. So what does that look like? For us, it looks like being able to be in a forum with like-minded men where we can grow together and we can share our vulnerabilities. Yeah. I got homeboys that, my army buddies that I've served with. And I can call any one of them right now, and they can call me right now. And we've talked about everything from divorce to our kids, to our wives, to the fears that we have about life. And if you can't share that, watch this. If you can't share that with another man, because you think it's a chink in your armor, or you think you're soft, or all this other stuff, you've been conditioned the wrong way.
And there's so much of that going on. I feel like it's kind of chipping away. There's a lot, like during the pandemic, there was a lot of talk about mental health, and there was a lot of talk about it in the Black community, and it was a lot talked about amongst men. And I love that Black men are becoming more vulnerable. Like, I feel like even though there might be little sprinkles here and there, the whole notion of, if you show your feelings, you a punk, and man up, and this and the third, I kind of feel like in the general population, not the general, for the most part, I feel like that's played. Like, there's no, like that's played. Like that's
it's starting to change, but I will tell you that there's still there's still strongholds and of where that exists. Mm-hmm. Me and Allison have been geographically separated for some time now. And one of the things that I had to come to grips with, and I had to tell her, is that I have an anxiety. I have an anxiety about being separated from my family. Mm-hmm. I told her, I said, I don't like it. I don't sleep well at night when we're separated. I don't, I can't focus when we separated. I'm anxious at work. I'm not in a good space. I am not the best version of Dwayne Murray when I'm not with my wife and when I'm not around my kids. Period. And I hate that feeling. And I told her, these are all quotes. Babe, I hate that feeling.
How long have y'all been married?
12 years.
12 years. I just wanted to ask you that really quickly, because I feel like we're in this really weird dichotomy, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just need to say this. We're in this weird dichotomy where there's so, I feel like you see what you want to see. There are so many busted up, crazy relationships that are in the forefront. And it's always the case that what is negative always speaks louder than what is positive. But to be in our 40s, and I have quite a few friends who've been married for at least a decade and they're happy. Not everything is not perfect,
Yeah.
but it ain't crazy. Like
Right.
they're happy. Like I want you, okay, because you talked about Allison in those intimate conversations that you've had with her. And I love the fact that you have a safe space, because the other part of it is that it's not only men who, like, those pockets of that bad conditioning about what a man is supposed to be and how he's supposed to
Yeah.
feel. It's not only in circles of men. There are marriages where a man, and I feel like, and you correct me if I'm wrong because I'm speaking from a woman's standpoint, but I feel like the worst place for a husband is to not be in a safe space with his wife.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Proceed.
Yes. That's a horrible spot to be in. If you don't feel like you can't talk to your wife, I'll give you an example. Me and Allison joke about this all the time. And Allison, I had some foot surgery, and if she was on the line, she'll chime in because she said she was going to be on here tonight. She said she wasn't going to heckle. I have foot surgery, and I'm a punk when it comes to pain. I am a wimp.
Most men are.
Most men are. I'm a wimp.
Yeah.
So amplify that by the fact that my wife is a nurse.
Oh, yeah.
And so not necessarily her tolerance, but her protocols for pain is different. And it's even more different, if that's a word, if that's a phrase, as it applies to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, I just can't get sick because I feel like you ain't gonna take care of me unless I got something falling off or if I'm bleeding out or something like that. Now, that's comical, right? But somewhere deep down, like, that's not like that's real. Like, I didn't get surgery on the other foot. And I refuse to get surgery on the other foot.
Wait, you can't be walking around here like Kunda now.
Look, I got one bunion on one foot and one bunion not on the other foot.
Okay. See?
And they will not cut the other foot until I can be in a safe space with my wife, the nurse. That's right. I will be in a safe space with my wife, the nurse, because I feel like I need to get taken care of a certain way.
Got it.
And it's not about what she wants to give me. It's about what I need.
Right.
And she knows that. And so that's just a simple illustration. But, I believe that singleness is being able to grow and develop and to be able to have the courage to share that. To whatever you got to do to be able to say those kind of things and be honest and still be able to go to bed at night. That's what you had to do to get to that point is in a singleness kind of space or singleness framework.
Okay. So y'all are there now. Take me back to when y'all were dating, and because all of this is a process, right? Mm-hmm. You just, you meet somebody and you want to, be with them, but there's just certain things, like it's like peeling an onion, as you get accustomed to, you get acclimated with somebody. Walk me through from a man's standpoint of when you went from I know her and we're dating and I see something here too. Okay, she's safe. Because you don't know. You meet somebody, but you have to get to know them, and you don't know until you know. You know what I mean? So what was that, and when did you feel like, okay,
I think there are milestone moments.
Okay.
And I think we go as I think we go from glory to glory. I think we abound. It's abounding, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the first thing I'll say before I go into that part is we spend, and this has been on my mind every time I've heard your podcast about singleness since we've spoken. We give our best to a fool. We give our best to fools.
Mm-hmm.
And then we turn around and we withhold from the person that we've decided to spend our life with. So shame on you and shame on me if I give my best to a fool and then I decide to marry somebody and I want to withhold from them and not give them my best.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the podcast, and good night. You know what? I'm about to send you offering, and this is gonna be some lotion and stuff. I don't even know what.
Think about that.
I ain't got to think about
we
it.
Cooking, we painting toenails, we getting hair did, fried dyed, laid to the side. We getting all these fly outfits and spending all this money, and we doing all this stuff. And I understand the courting process, but like I said, because we don't have discernment, because our senses have been dulled by whatever, our best to a fool and continue to give it to a fool. And then we don't want to make our husband a plate. He can make his own plate of food. Wait a minute. Ooh. I don't understand. Yeah, I can make my own plate of food. And you're not subservient to me, but I would like to be treated right. Don't you want to be treated right? You want me to open the door for you? I got you. And it ain't a quid pro quo. If I don't open the door, you should still make me a plate. If you don't make me a plate, I should still open the door. It should not be a running tally of what you've done for me today versus what I did for you yesterday.
Can you just say it? We give our best to a
and
fool.
So, but back to
withhold.
We withhold. We give our best to a fool, and then we withhold from the people we decided to spend our whole entire life with. And they're just supposed to be okay with it. They're just supposed to be okay with it. I got her. She ain't going. What we doing?
You know what we're doing? You know what we're doing? We are running into a relationship for the sake of having one, and we have not. I saw somebody write something about like the autopsy of a relationship. Like after you get out of a relationship, as painful as it may be, you need to really dissect that thing and see. And we don't do that. We just move on because we want to replace people.
So watch this. So I told you I was married and divorced, right? And my son, first of all, I loved her. Period. I can freely admit that. I loved her and she loved me. It just didn't work. It didn't work out. Now, to autopsy that, I can't autopsy for her. I have to autopsy for me.
Okay. What? Because we do a fantastic job at breaking down what
the other person did.
He did, what she did, what they did not do right, and this and the third. And we seldom take that same magnifying glass and fine-tooth comb and think about what, and it's not always what we did wrong, but it's what we could have done better, or
Yeah.
what we could do better, because
Yeah.
it's not always, sometimes, and sometimes it is, but sometimes it's like I really did everything that I could,
Yeah.
but you probably did not, because we're not
So
perfect.
so 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 I like what you said, and I'll say it differently. But I think we're saying the same thing. There's no way you did everything you could do. Because if you did everything you could do, you'd still be there. I'm
Still be
just
there.
I'm just saying what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because at some point, now I can talk about me. I was too prideful. I was too arrogant. I was too selfish. I had an ego. I was self-centered. I can tell you all those things about why my marriage failed. And I'd be damned if I let myself repeat it the next time. In the next dating, the next dating scene I begin to enter into. And so on with those things, I knew that I had to be different. I knew I had to be a different person. I couldn't bring that into another relationship, or else I would be right back where I was.
Right back.
Eventually, I'll be right back where I was.
Yeah. Because if things don't, it's not everybody. It's not everybody. Like if you can't keep, and this goes for anyone, if the same thing keeps happening, it's not everybody. There is a common thread, and you are weaved in it, and it's not a slight or anything, but
The commonality is you. You're what's common about it.
right. So what is common that you're doing, like, and that was the thing. And I was talking to somebody, and I had said, like, as great of a woman as I know that I am, I had to take a step back and figure out, why do I keep attracting the same type? Why? It ain't them, because people going to be who they're going to be. And when they show you who they are, you believe them. It was me that was accepting that behavior and then tolerating it. And you know what I mean? Like, when you get to a point where you can admit your stuff.
And so that's discernment. You have to have discernment about the situation. You have to have discernment about yourself. And you have to have discernment about other people.
Yourself.
Right.
Because we got discernment about everybody else.
Right.
We can see everybody else, but
yeah. So when your spidey senses are tingling, are they tingling about you, or are they tingling about somebody else? And so and so that's what's important. So to the point about Allison, you asked me, how did I know? I think you said, how did I know that
she was safe?
That she was safe.
Yeah, that you could unveil parts of you and be naked and vulnerable.
While we were dating, she fought for me.
What does that mean?
Okay. What does that mean? What does that mean? She had my back. There was an instance where a young lady, I can't go into details, but there's a young lady that put me in a situation at work. And if Allison's on the line, she'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The young lady that put me in a situation at work. And it wasn't anything like she basically presented herself to my boss and said that that I put her in a bullying scenario with other women.
Got it.
Basically. And when I told my wife, my girlfriend at the time, she went ham. And she protected me and she defended me. And she's always had my back because I got this blind spot. And we all do. I got this blind spot, you know? And if we're honest, we all have it. And when somebody will cover up your blind spot and be honest and frank and call it what it is and protect you from yourself in some instances, that's when you know you got a winner. Now, for me, it's literally me telling Allison sometimes, babe, you working too hard. Like, I'm going to shut you down. I'm shutting you down. You're not going anywhere. You know, kind of like when she had the baby. I was like, you're not going, you're not leaving the house for a month. You know, now that talks about health and welfare and everything else.
Right.
But you get the point. I'm talking about psychologically, spiritually. When someone's willing to stand in the gap for you and stand up for you, even to protect you and not protect you. You've done something wrong, but they're going to protect you. And I'm not saying cover up. I'm saying they're going to deal with it. And then they're going to shield you and provide a safe space. Mm-hmm. So that's when I knew that I could begin to tell her things and share with her and let down my guard. You know, funny enough, we were engaged and this is a reflection of this. So you know that. You know, for a long time, I didn't drink. I don't drink, right? That's like public information. Well, I felt safe enough with my wife to have a drink. And it wasn't the right drink. For the first, you're not supposed to have a fishbowl margarita for the first drink.
Right.
And the last drink. That's not what you're supposed to do.
Right. You got to ease into it.
But I was in a space where I trusted her. And I trusted that she would take care of me. Mm-hmm. Because that was a vulnerable space for me that I was fearful of. I didn't feel like I could trust anybody with that. You know, I didn't feel like I could trust anybody with the story behind why I don't drink. But I could trust her. Mm-hmm. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And so she stepped up. It wasn't just me. Like courting is just it's an idea. It's something that we think about and we romanticize about. You know, he's gonna show up and he's gonna sit down and talk to my dad, and he's gonna open the car door and he's gonna pay for dinner and he's gonna drop me off at the right time. And you know, it's all about what the guy should do. But what about what the girl should do? What about what the woman should do?
So dig into that a little bit, because I not sadly, well, there is a lot of ownership put on the man, and I mean, okay, men. So my theory, not theory, but like men are leaders. So you know, you can't talk about you the head and you leading and stuff, but you know you're not, you know what I mean? But that does not that doesn't mean that the woman doesn't have any responsibility on her part. And that is wow.
And so right. And so biblically speaking, not even biblically speaking, like since the beginning of time, right? Kings and queens ruled together. The king the king had dominion over the land, right? But the queen was the most powerful person in the kingdom. No joke. because she had the ear of the king.
Mm-hmm.
And she provided
Absolutely.
offspring. They provided offspring together.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and so she was his advisor. And so if the woman, the words that we use in yesteryear, if the woman was treacherous
Not
or
treacherous.
deceitful, or all those words,
Yeah.
and she poisoned the king's, the kingdom was doomed.
Yeah.
Not just the king, the kingdom was doomed. And so that's why it was so important to pick the right woman to be the queen. That's why women should be winsome, attractive, of good character. Because if you are allowing the king to rule and provide dominion and vision and direction, then you're walking lockstep with that vision and direction. You guys are planning the vision and direction together. It doesn't say just because I say do it, do it. If I say do it and she's like, I think that's a bad idea. Well, why do you think that's a bad idea, my queen? Because the people, blah, 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 blah. And then what does the king say? Well, what do you think we should do, my queen? And then she rolls out the plan. And she's like, yeah, I think we should do this, and we should feed the people, and we should do this, and we should do that. And then he says, you're right, my queen. Make it so, yea, verily. You've heard the queen. I mean, you saw it. You see it on TV.
Yeah.
You see it in the Bible.
The whole. Let me tell you.
What does Esther do? I mean,
she wins the ear of Xerxes,
and she sets him up with it, right? Because she's like, you gonna kill all the Jews?
She gained his trust.
Well, I'm Jewish. She's like, wait a minute, I can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to kill the queen. But let's talk about the first queen. Because his boys was like, hey, let's do this party and let's have my queen come dance for y'all. I'm paraphrasing.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I'm the queen. You ain't supposed to do that. What's wrong with you? So he listening to his boys. Listening to his boys, try to embarrass his wife, and then his pride got the best of him, and he sent her away. Instead of
nobody has broke it down like that. Nobody. Okay. See, you walking heavy because I have never heard anybody break down what happened to Vashti before Esther. They disregard her just like that first chapter does. She was and just leave you to your own. And what do? Of course, we automatically assume, and granted, we know the plan of God. Esther had to come, and however he's going to get, whoever out the way so that the plan can, keep moving. But just I've never heard, wow, you know what? Okay. Continue. This is, yeah.
But that's literally kind of how it like that's if there was if we were to produce, like if Antoine Fuqua was to produce the story, like that's what happened.
That's what happened. Yeah.
That's what happened. Yo, check this out. Yo, I'm gonna call my wife and watch.
Watch what I watch.
He hanging out with his boys. Oh man, you ain't got no pull like that, man. Yo, watch this. Hey man, come here. Why don't you let the fellas see what you working with?
Right.
She was like, are you kidding me? And then his voice was like,
Ooh.
ooh, yo, you ain't got
Yo,
your
she
wife in
played you,
check,
son.
yo. You ain't got your wife in check, yo. Yo, we out. You can't run the kingdom. You ain't even got your wife in check, yo.
Right, right. Had that been my wife, meanwhile, they ain't
That was my
married.
wife, and I
They
was
ain't
the king.
married.
If that was my wife, and I was the queen, she'd be twerking right now. And she was like, and so, because she didn't, he got the boo boo face, and he was like, "Yo, tell her don't ever come back no more."
But you see how much and this is really not a conversation for you, although it kind of is. But women get so much, we get so much slack. We get so much slack for the we get so much slack, but at the same time, we don't understand the power that we hold, especially when you speak of the woman being the most powerful because she has the ear of the man, like the husband. The wife has, and we don't understand
Yeah,
how much power we have and how much damage we can we can do. And it's been a lot of women to do a lot of damage
right.
that causes even more damage to men.
To
And then that's
everybody
how
around them.
hmm
To everybody around them.
everybody, well, yeah.
Everybody around them. Women too. Damaging other women.
Oh, yeah, right.
We should all thrive to be a thermostat and not a thermometer.
Thermometer. My bishop used to always say that. Yeah,
You know,
that's right.
because you got to read the room. You know,
Yeah.
and I could again anecdotes. Me and my wife were talking. We were on the phone with the insurance company yesterday, and she's ready to go ham. And I'm like, babe, I need them to handle business first. Then we can triage why this went wrong. Well, you just too calm. Because the loudest person doesn't always get heard, babe. I didn't tell her that, but that's what I was thinking. I said, I need them to handle business first. I don't need them to spend 20 minutes saying I'm sorry and apologizing. I want them to handle business first. Then I want to know why this happened.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I want to know why. Yeah, let's triage it after they settle the bill. Because we still got to settle the bill.
Right.
You know? And so, yeah, I mean, it's 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 hard. It's not easy. You know, relationships are not easy. Um, but if you're willing to do the work, because I'm gonna tell you, that job, them degrees, that car, them friends, they ain't gonna keep you warm at night.
Mm.
They don't keep you warm at night.
It's the teeth.
They don't wake up next to
Yeah.
you in the morning and say good morning and say I love you or I hate you or whatever. They don't. They roll out.
Right.
You know.
Okay. One more question. It's 9:59. So how we got to do a part two. We just have to. But how okay, this may be a loaded question. Because you said in the beginning, you started in the beginning talking about how, and I'm sure this goes for every single man on earth. No man grows up thinking about his wedding day. You say you think about his wedding night, but he's not thinking about his wedding date. Like women, we're groomed for that. I don't even know how to ask this question. Like, okay, until I can get my thought together for part two. Because it's 10 o'clock. What ad- advice, and you kind of, I think you kind of touched on it, but what advice would you give to men? You know what, Lawrence? Shout out to Lawrence. You know what? Look, that's my
Yeah, well,
brother.
yeah, just say it.
I know.
Just say it.
Yeah, see, this is, and I know any man watching this, because this is what happens. Like, the woman is trying to get her thoughts together, and the man is like, "Can you just, like, what?" Because I'm processing it while I'm talking. So what would you say to a man who has been hurt by a past relationship? What would you say to him? And understand, heal and all of that. But what does that look like? A man healing from a past hurt to get him in the place that he needs to be for a meaningful relationship, not a hit it and quit it, not a, because that's easy, especially for a man, because women, we just, but to be in something meaningful, but he's been hurt before. How does a man heal from his hurt?
It's an easy answer. You have to want to. You have to want to. Some people don't want to. Some people don't want to heal. Some people don't want to heal. I got friends, male and female. They're like, hey, I'm good. I don't have to get married. And I'm not saying that we go into relationships with the idea of marriage, but serial monogamy at some point is kind of whack.
It's old. Yeah.
It's old. At 40, at 45, at 50, what are we doing with serial monogamy? You dating somebody for a month or a week or a year, and then you date somebody else for a year or two, or like you. So you
all three of them for years.
Whether it's multiples, whether it's one after the other, however you doing it, like that's old. Like it's and for anybody that's easy, because you're getting the 10,000-foot view. You're getting the best of somebody for a small amount of time, and when they show their chinks in the armor, you bounce. Now,
like a car lease.
Now, that said, there's something to be said about discernment. So don't give your best to a fool. Have the discernment to not give your best to a fool to begin with. And that will avoid serial monogamy as well. Right? Because if you find the chinks in the armor early, ideally, don't be taking my quote, Serena. If you're not trying to get healed and you going through serial monogamy, then the minute that somebody shows you something you're not interested in, you out.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't even become discernment. Then it just becomes frivolous. Oh, I don't like, you just becoming, you getting real picky now. And no one can be real picky with you.
Right.
Like, you're not willing to open up and share yourself. So to be willing to open up and share yourself, you have to want to. And, it looks like being honest with yourself about the broken parts that you have. I got broken parts. I was hurt. I was crushed. I didn't get married the first time with the intention of getting divorced.
Most people don't.
I was crushed.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to bet that she was too. I'm sure that she had to do something to get to a point where she could even look at me, let alone talk to me. And, we got a good relationship now. She's remarried. Like all these things that have happened for both of us, we had to move on. We had to she had a birthday a couple days ago, by the way. I didn't even call her and wish her happy birthday. Happy belated birthday. If you listen to Happy Belated Birthday, Robin Reed.
But that's so wonderful. And that's when you're healed. I don't care what anybody say. don't tell me, like, if you, and it's not to say that you're not going to be friends with everybody, but if you have like children together, you got to find some type of common ground, because
Yeah.
then they won't be vulnerable, but you, or they, like, you won't be, what did you say, both parents won't be there for the child. But
Yeah.
you cannot say that you are healed and you're over your past relationships if you have so many horrible things to say about them, even if they were horrible.
That's
Even
right.
if they were horrible, and this
That's
doesn't take
right.
away from, your part, but if they were horrible human beings, and every time, their name is mentioned, or whatever, you have something bad to say about them, but yet you're in your relationship or you're in your marriage and you doing your thing, it's smoke and mirrors. You're
That's
not
right.
healed and
That's
you're
right.
not forgiving, and you still got a lot of residue.
It
So
all rings hollow.
yes,
It
it
all
all rings
hollow.
hollow.
If you can't speak, if you can't, so we are each other's cheerleaders. I cheer for her when she does something good, and she cheers for me when we do something good.
Right.
Now, the weirdest thing is to have her and Allison on the line cracking jokes about me. That's still kind of weird, but but it's funny because what she said the first time it happened was, "You should be happy that we're getting along."
Yeah. Yeah.
You're absolutely
Because
right.
it
Because
can
we trying to
be a
raise a kid and we trying to start a life together.
right.
So I should be happy that they're getting along.
Because let me
Because
tell you, there are people in marriages that are still trying. Like, I don't get it. If you are married and you claim you are happily married, you don't have any business trying to be low-key petty and all of that. Then you're not happy, because you should be so busy in your current that you're not focused.
why you worried about what they got and what they doing? And like, even I'll go one step further. Watch this. Why are you tripping about the child support? Why are you mad about child support? Why are you mad?
Right.
Pay your money. I say that, and I say, whoever's getting child support, don't be trying to take all the money, but
Right.
Take what's due, be fair, take what's due, and why are you worried about what she spend the money on? That ain't your business what she spend the money on. Your kids got clothes, your kids getting fed. If you want to do something I always did, I always bought my oldest son sneakers because that's just something I wanted to do. Not that he wouldn't have shoes on his feet, but I wanted to make sure if he had, if he was playing football, I bought his cleats. If he was playing basketball, I bought his basketball shoes. If he's playing soccer, I bought soccer shoes. That's something I always tried to do while he was with me, when he was with her. If there's something I specifically wanted him to have, I didn't ask her to go do it. I did it.
Right.
And so that pettiness, like if you petty, you still care. If you petty, you still in love with them. And that's why I said, if you're giving your best to someone and you're saying you've done your best and it's time to leave, you haven't really done your best. Because if you being petty, you still care about them. And you still want to be it. You still want to be in that.
Yeah.
You still want to be in that. And right now, that's mess. If you've said you're going to get divorced or you said you're not going to be with that individual, the thing that you want to be in is actual mess. And sometimes we get exhilaration being in the mess.
Being messy.
And we can't even help ourselves. We can't even help ourselves and stop the chain of being petty and being messy.
Because we feel like people feel like there's power in it. There's no power in it. You look dumb.
There is power in it. The power is controlling you. There is power. There is power in it. When you're being petty,
that's good.
every piece of petty energy that you're using is being weaponized against you.
Mm. Oh,
It's being
you know what? I'm
weaponized.
gonna have to watch. I'm gonna watch this tomorrow.
It's being weaponized against you.
That's so good.
You
And we
know,
and you can't see for looking. You don't even realize
you
it.
can't even see it because you too busy being petty. You can't even see you put petty energy out here, petty energy out here, petty energy out here, and it all gets balled up, and it gets balled up, and it gets weaponized and shot right back at you. You know, and so like if you're involved in that relationship and you either why don't you transition that petty energy into doing something else more constructive? Either A, coping and dealing with it so that you can move on, or B, reconciling and restoring. Either one. I don't care which one you do. Just don't be petty in the first place. You know, the choice is yours. You know, spend some of that energy instead of spending that energy being upset about them and what they're doing. Why don't you call them and talk through some of the issues that you got?
Right. Right. Yeah, because you're not God forbid you're in a marriage or even just for yourself.
Yeah,
It's not helping
right.
it's not helping you. Oh my gosh. Dwayne, this was so this was so I I don't know which direction this went in. I thought I had some questions, but I got so many notes. All right, I set a hard stop at 10, right? 10
Yep.
12.
And it's 10. Yeah.
It's 10 12. But she all right. I'm gonna pick up girl. But we have to do this again because this was really good. And I love the fact that because sometimes when you know men speak, it can come from such a place of it just being so cynical and just just coming down on women. and and there's a place for all of us on both sides to take ownership and do better.
Yep.
There's and you gave balance. So this is the way men become healed. Listening, sharing, and admitting the hurt. I like this episode. You're welcome, Lawrence. Amen. To God be the glory. This is great. And I love, yeah, it's this is my hope. Okay, I'm gonna save that for my closing. Anyway, all right. I'm all over the place. This is so good. Like I am full. I am full. I'm full. Um, because this was good, and I thank you. Thank you for lending your time. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for your voice. Thank you for your transparency. Thank you for being one of the outstanding men, like for real man, that loves his wife and and I mean loves his wife. Like, and it's not fake, it's not phony. Y'all are so real. And I'm grateful for the both of you. Like I talked, me and Allison, we had exchanged some messages a couple of days ago, and I just told her, I was like, y'all give me hope. Y'all give me hope because we know how old we are, and you look at the pillars and those who've been, married for all of these years and they're older, but to
Yeah.
see people in real time, in our time, that's not out here like just losing it, like, because believe it or not, there are people in their 40s and 50s that are a piece of work,
Yeah.
that and grown boys
Yeah.
Little girls in adult bodies that haven't dealt with their trauma and their hurt, and they just continue to repeat vicious cycles of unhealthy, you know, unhealthy mindsets that doesn't get you anywhere. And it's because there's so much healing that needs to take place. And I think that you have helped us. Thank you, Lawrence, and whatever brothers is, watching or who will watch. Please, please listen, because
Well,
I just want to see, I just want to see our men healed. But go ahead.
I'm certainly not perfect,
Of course not.
and
Of course not.
there are plenty more of us as well. So I thank you for giving me an opportunity to just um share, you know, giving men a safe space. Um, it's hard. It's harder for it's not there's varying degrees of difficulty in terms of being able to share. Um, and everybody is not comfortable. Um, they may need a different type of space and a different type of venue. But again, I thank you for being the awesome, winsome woman that I know you are.
Amen. I appreciate that, my brother. I really do. I just want to see people healed. I do. I want this narrative of just broken men, broken black men, and broken black women, and broken relationships and failed marriages. There's more people who are thriving than those who are not. And that's just what I want to highlight, because I know that it exists. It's all around me. I mean, yes, I've been divorced, but me and my children's father, like, our relationship is amicable and we cool. We cool. Like, for my daughter's birthday, she turned 20. We went out to eat. We had so much fun. And
Right.
the girls were so happy about it that we could sit in a space and there's no tension, and there's no, daddy's gonna say something, mommy's gonna say something. Like, his family, like, my ex-father-in-law turned 75 in April. I
Yeah.
was at his party. Like, no problem,
Yeah.
no issue. Him and I, we're just cool. There's no, oh, y'all gonna get back. We're just cool. We are about the children, and that's it. And it's a beautiful thing,
Yeah.
you know but there are people who are married and are still getting married and still and love each other. And that's what I want to perpetuate, not this garbage that drives numbers. I don't care about numbers. I care about hearts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, when lives are changed, people are healed, and families are brought into right relationship, um, the enemy's mad.
he's mad. He's mad. Yeah.
Yeah, he's mad.
Mm-hmm.
And so um, we keep doing that by sharing our stories and our testimonies, and being vulnerable, because there's power in our story. That's where the power lies.
Yeah,
So
for sure. For sure. We definitely have to do this again. Not sure when, but I know that we will. I know that we will, because I can't and I dare not speak for a man. I can give my perspective of what I think as a woman, but 9 times out of 10, I'm probably off because I'm not a man. So
yeah.
that's why I needed a man to come and speak for men, because I mean, I think there were some things that I said that I was right. But there were some things that I said that I was off, because I'm not a man, and I'm always willing to learn. So I'm gonna close out. Thank you so much.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
we'll definitely work on a part two, probably after the holidays.
Okay.
We'll
I got some
figure
more
it out.
brothers I could bring in.
Huh?
I got some more brothers I could bring in.
Okay, see now. Okay, so Because I had that in mind, but I was like, I don't want to, but deep down, that's see he be knowing because he knew that in my heart of hearts, I wanted to say that, but I was like, nah, I'm gonna fall back. But then he was like, nah, but I know what you want in your heart. So I'm just gonna put it out there for you, daughter. All right, bet. We're gonna take this offline. I'm gonna close out so I could pick up my child.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
yeah, shout out to you and Allison. Love you guys so much.
Thank you,
Happy
babe.
Thanksgiving.
Likewise.
Yes. Enjoy the family. And we'll connect soon.
Will do.
All right. All
I
right,
love you.
bro.
Bye
Love
bye.
you too. All right. I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. I'm gonna try. But let me some if there's nothing we learned, um let me get my notes. I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna leave. We give our best to a fool, but withhold from the person we decide to spend our entire life with. Um, I'm glad that I know of one man. Shout out to my bro Lawrence. I'm glad that you were edified. I'm really glad. And if you all can share this. Like I told you, the numbers are going to come. I'm not worried about that. I really want to change and cultivate hearts, okay? But if one thing that I can leave with the ladies, we have to be healed so that we can be a safe space. Because I know for a fact from conversations that I've had with various men, the worst place for a man to be in is a place that's not safe. And if he entrusts you to be that space for him and he finds that it's unsafe, it's I won't say it's impossible, but it is very, very hard to pull a man back into a place where he feels safe around you when that breach or there was a breach in that. So for my brothers, I love you all. Um and I pray for your healing and I pray for all of us to just be healed. I want to see us happy. I want to see us thriving and hopeless romantic, like I don't know, I just believe in what God believes in, and that's love and the institution of marriage and happy thriving marriages where children can have balanced life and see examples so that we can change this narrative and change the course of what our what the family structure looks like for us Black folks, because we were doomed from the beginning ever since we came here on those slave ships. But just believe until Jesus returns, we have the power to change that. And I'm just one person trying to do my part. So I love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Next week there is no Cultivating Conversations because I'll probably still be in my food coma. I have some other things to do. My store is going to be open 187 Martine Avenue or www.idesignbeauty.com. All of my gift bundles and Black Friday and Small Business Saturday sales are going to be dropping on the website on midnight of Black Friday. So check that out. Enjoy. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. And I will see you all in 2 weeks. Peace out.